Monday, everybody, let's go! Twin Day! Welcome aboard, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Richard. I'm going to be your driver and guide for the next 2 weeks. So we've got some safety features to go over. During our entire safari, please remain seated for your safety and the safety of those around you. And if you have a small child, you may place the child on your lap. But once the child is there, please don't raise the child at any time, at any moment on safari. And we're going to wait here for the magic lamp to give us the okay to go down into the rough and rugged right there. There we go. Yes, sir. And one other word of precaution. The animals here are wild and free to roam, but they're also very reclusive. That's a big word. All it means is they like to hide a lot. So please don't call out to the animals, make any clapping or kissing noises. We don't want to scare them away. We want to enjoy what we can find. There, hiding in the bamboo. Are you ready there? That's the okapi to the far right side there. You can just see its beautiful legs. You can make out its long, slender snout, big black ears, and its striped hindquarters. Looking up at your animal spotting guide, what animal would you think is the first cousin of the beautiful okapi? Giraffe. I got a veteran on board. All right. Hard to believe, but they both have the same amount of vertebrae. Oh, and in the back on the left there, two beautiful storks. Those are the saddle-billed storks back there. And coming to greet us on the right-hand side as we turn left, three deer lookalikes, but these are greater kudu. These are female. I don't see the male with horns. He'll grow to be the second tallest antelope in the world at over 5 feet at the shoulders. Aren't they beautiful? Greater kudu. Let's see what else we can find moving on safari. Black rhino on the left-hand side, lying there, way off in the distance. Another one on our left-hand side, also lying down. All 3,000 pounds of that animal. Very, very aggressive. Now let's look to the right and see if you can find the ghost of the forest, the bongo, on the right-hand side. It's nicknamed the ghost of the forest because it's very rarely seen and tries to stay hidden at all times. Well, I hope you enjoyed that sighting because according to the experts, the ghost of the world is about to become the ghost of the forest is about to become the ghost of the world. Extinct in 2 years, the bongo is expected due to poaching, excuse me, and illegal hunting by the most dangerous predator on the entire planet. Unfortunately, that's us, mankind. Leaving Little Ituri, we're going to go down into the Safi River Valley. Now, the river itself may sound kind of pleasant and inviting on a hot day. However, all water sports are strictly forbidden, as the river is inhabited by very dangerous animals. One of which may be just below the surface of the river. This 5,000-pound animal can remain submerged for up to 10 minutes. Known as the hippopotamus.
Where?
Couple of hippos, left-hand side. Totally submerged there. Oh, one just came up.
There's one coming up. They're underwater. They're underwater.
That's a small one. That's a baby hippo there. Year and a half old. Born at 80 pounds, now weighs over 1,000 pounds.
Wow. Over 1,000 pounds. You don't even weigh 30.
And on the island there on the left tail, there's more hippo underwater. And
Did you see that one?
the smallest pelican in the world, that's the pink-backed pelican on the island.
Look at this one right here.
Now, if you'd like to see more of the hippopotamus from underwater, take a walking expedition at Gorilla Falls. There's an underwater viewing port. Now we're going poly-poly, very slow and cautious. because neither you or I want to be down in the river basin with this next most dangerous, aggressive, ferocious animal in the world. All 18 feet of the Nile crocodile, weighing upwards of 600 pounds. And they maintain that weight by consuming half their body weight every week or 10 days. Well, let's get off this rickety bridge safely. Those crocs are always hungry. We're going to head over to the Serengeti Plain. The Serengeti Plain here in Africa goes for thousands of miles north and south of the equator. Kind of like a super highway for the animals. Starting in Tanzania far to the south and continuing up here to Kenya, East Africa. On the east coast of Africa near the port of Harambe. Now the animals use that natural highway to find better grazing. And the most important thing is water. You will not survive the Serengeti without water. So as we're stopped here, possibly for an animal stop down on the Serengeti, as I advised, the animals are wild and free to roam, except for the predators, of course. And sometimes they'll get into the right path, and we'll stop and give them the right of way. After all, it is their home. And as we turn sharply left, look to the right, there's a very unusual tree on our right-hand side coming up. This tree is called baobab by the Africans. And baobab translates into the tree of life. Because inside these huge trunks, which are hollow, are thousands of gallons of water, used by both mankind and animal alike down through the millennia to survive severe droughts. And that's just a youngster. It's only 1,000 years old. We're going to see some older, larger, ancient baobab farther on safari. But right now, here from Overlook, look down onto the Serengeti and see if you recognize this landscape. Because 25 years ago, Disney sent illustrators here to the Serengeti to get a natural feel for the landscape and the animals that live here, thus creating the movie The Lion King. And 25 years later, we're celebrating that anniversary. Disney's re-releasing it in 3D during the festival of The Lion King starting July 19th. Because we're trying to stir up interest in the fate of the African lion. 100 years ago, there were over 200,000 lions on the Serengeti here. There's only 20,000 today. So anybody that rides on safari during that week, Disney's going to contribute $5 for each brave soul that goes on safari towards helping the lions to come back. Baby giraffe, right-hand side. All cousins. There's 3 of them there. One just sat down. Now the youngest is to the left, and then her cousin, male, is in the middle, and then an older one to the right. But they're all within months of each other. The young lady was born 5 months ago, and her cousin, lying down, was 6 months, and the taller was 8 months. African painted wild dog on the left-hand side. The most efficient nocturnal predator on the planet, only found here in Africa. And being so efficient a hunter, they're also family-oriented. They'll bring their lifeless prey back to the pack to feed the old and the young first. Sable antelope on our left-hand side, the official symbol of our reserve. Now you can see how backwardly formed they are. Almost like a curve. They use those as defensive weapons. If a predator were to climb on their back or even try, they'll jerk their head back and stab at that predator with those curved horns. Sir, we need to be seated at all times. Please do not move again, please. Okay?
Yeah.
There we go. For your safety. Because if I had an animal jump out in front of me, I'd have to slam on the brakes. Maasai giraffe to the left and to the right. Three cousins we talked about on the right-hand side. And to the left, mature Maasai giraffe. Tallest animal in the world at 20 feet high at the eyes. And we can tell they're Maasai by their jagged and regular patterns on their bodies. Unlike their far distant cousin, the reticulated, which doesn't grow as tall and has kind of round and smooth markings. Now, being so tall at 20 feet, the calves are normally born 6 feet high at the shoulders. Also being that tall, and when you combine their height with their keen eyesight and the fact that giraffes do not sleep. They only kind of nap 5 to 10 minutes at a time, totaling maybe 45 minutes in a 24-hour period. They're called the sentinels of the savannah. Usually the first ones to give out the alarm that a predator is near. Now there's an animal out in front of us on the right with the huge horns. This is Ankole cattle. Ankole cattle are bred and raised by the Watusi and Maasai tribe. Oh, another cousin on the left-hand side. And probably mom up there in the bushes. But getting back to the Ankole cattle with the huge horns, they're raised and bred by the Watusi and Maasai tribes, but not for their milk or meat, but as a sign of wealth and status. And the darker colored animals lying down on our right-hand side, it's what the Africans call the wild beasts, better known as the wildebeest. That's the densest animal population on the continent of Africa. Now as we come up to these three giraffe, please do not call out, reach out. You've all been perfectly quiet, so let's continue. Don't scare these beautiful animals. There we are. Thank you very much, everybody. Another one, left-hand side, using its 18-inch long tongue to get some tasty treats up there. Up on the rise on our right-hand side, look at those ancient baobab. Legend has it the oldest baobab on the continent is 6,000 years old and holds up to 20,000 gallons of water. Again, used by both mankind and animal alike to survive the severe droughts. Let's see what else we can find. Elephant, African elephant, right-hand side. This is going to be a young male, about maybe 7,000 to 8,000 pounds, all by himself, which is normal here in the Serengeti. The males are always alone. Let's see if we can get a better look here up to a little farther. Even though the elephant herd is very social and family-oriented, it's ruled by the matriarch, and what she says is absolute law. So much so, when this male elephant and his brothers reach the age of adolescence, they're exiled from the herds, doomed to a life of bachelorhood. However, the males will stay close in the hopes of getting an invitation to come back for a short family visit, or to be there in case the herd sounds the alarm that it is in danger, and the males will come back in to help protect the herd. Now, the only way farther into territory is to take this rickety old bridge, so cross your fingers. Warden says it's been repaired today, but I hope he quit using that heavy-duty duct tape and baling wire. So let's get out of here. As I said, the animals are free and wild and to roam, and the elephant territory is very vast. But I'm seeing signs here that elephant may be close on the right-hand side. You can see they've been gouging at the red clay. Elephant up ahead. They'll consume the red clay as a mineral supplement to their diet, kind of like us, taking our vitamins. Now, if this is the herd we found, it'll be made up of 90 to 95% female, weighing at maturity 8,000 to 9,000 pounds. And if we can find the matriarch, she'll top 11,000 pounds, being the largest dominant female. Elephant to the left there. Elephant just in front of us. Now as we turn to the right up ahead, next to this pond, normally we're crossing in water. But as you can see, the pond is going dry, almost in a drought situation. And if you look to this ancient baobab there on the left-hand side, you'll see where these elephant will gouge and tear at that thin bark to get at that water inside in order to survive. And none of these are large enough here to be the matriarch, believe it or not. She's very, very huge. Greater flamingos on our left-hand side. I think one of the more beautiful birds in the world. With that pink coloration. That pink color comes from a substance called beta-carotene, which makes up their sole source of food, brine shrimp. Now if you see some are standing on one leg, they're not exercising. That's called nesting. With their necks curled up, they're actually sleeping on one leg. Rhino. Now you guys have been very, very wonderful. Please don't call out to this very aggressive 5,000-pound animal. They've been known to charge. Now, historically, they're called white rhinoceros. However, the Africans call them Vrite with a V. Now, take a look at their mouth structure and obviously the color. They're not white. But Vrite translates into wide, flat-lipped animal. Has nothing to do with color. So historians are still scratching their heads down through the centuries, trying to figure out who may have changed the first journal of an early explorer from Vrite to white. But it's your choice. Cheetah. You can hardly make out this camouflaged, large, predatorial cat. Look to the left of that tree in the darkness there. Look at those spots there. That's the fastest animal in the world. Cheetah. When standing perfectly still in ambush position during the day, if prey presents itself, the cheetah can suddenly accelerate to over 70 miles an hour in a little bit over 3 seconds. And being one of the large predatorial cats in the world, it is the most unique. It is the only large cat that still purrs. It does not roar. Kopi outcropping. This is the tallest and largest natural structure here in the reserve. Okay, just on our left-hand side, there's the beautiful warthog and the bontebok antelope here on our left-hand side. Look at the sheen of the coat of this bontebok. There's another one up front. The bontebok was hunted to extinction, or so we were told, in the year 2000. But luckily for us, farmer found survivors, took them in and bred them. And we have these two beautiful examples of the bontebok. Then you have the warthog there, first cousin of the domestic pig. Another bontebok on the right. Ostrich eggs on the ground there, all 3 pounds apiece, the right-hand side. They're purposely laid out in the hot sun like that because they're self-incubating. They don't need to be tended to. And even being out in the open like that, they're very rarely damaged because the eggshells themselves have been known to withstand a weight of almost 200 pounds without cracking. Leaving Serengeti behind, moving into Magadi Glen. Magadi Glen, forested like the Little Ituri where we started our 2-week safari. However, it's more pleasant and inviting, I think. Jade green grass, geyser-filled ponds. A place you might want to just kick back, meditate a little bit. We're going to go down into a shallow ravine, another part of the Magadi Glen. But down at the bottom of this ravine, you may sense that the air is somewhat denser. This density comes from the high concentration of oxygen given off by the plants. So where I like to relax and think about our 2-week safari that was magically condensed into 23 minutes. Because unfortunately we're coming back to civilization. The port of Harambe. The name Harambe itself translates into an invitation. Come together, all mankind with the animals, to make the world a better place for us all. For myself,